The bridge of the UGS horizon was quiet. Commander Joan Carter stood in the center, his hands behind his back. His crew moved around him, checking their stations. Everyone knew this was no normal mission. They were heading toward Varnus 15, a system marked as Class 15 Death World, the highest danger rating in the galaxy. Carter had read the orders over and over again. Investigate unknown human signal detected near Varnus 15. No ship had entered that system in over 200 years. Everyone who tried never came back. The system was blacklisted by the Galactic Union. It was known as a graveyard. Carter didn't like this mission, but he had no choice. Orders were orders. He pressed the comms button on his chair. "Status report," he said calmly. His first officer, Lieutenant Kira Voss, turned her chair toward him. "Commander, we're approaching the edge of Varnus 15. 5 minutes until visual range." Carter nodded. "Slow us down. I want full scans running. Be ready for anything." Kira's hands moved across her console. The engines hummed as the ship slowed. The crew worked in silence, their faces tight with worry. Carter could feel the tension. He stood up and walked closer to the main screen. The dead star at the center of Varnus 15 came into view. It was cold and black, surrounded by broken planets and space debris. The system looked like a giant tomb. "Anything on the scanners?" Carter asked. Kira squinted at her screen. "I've got something, sir. It's a ship." Carter leaned over her shoulder. "What ship?" Kira typed quickly. The ship's ID came up on the screen. Carter froze when he read the name. Odyssey. The Odyssey was one of Earth's first colony ships. It had launched 2 centuries ago, aiming to build a new home for humanity. But it vanished without a trace. No one ever found out what happened to it. People thought it had been destroyed. Carter stared at the name. "Any life signs?" Kira ran another scan. She frowned. "No clear life signs. But the signal is still active. It's coming from the ship." Carter felt a chill run through him. "Take us closer," he ordered. The UGS horizon moved forward, carefully entering the system. The massive dark shape of the Odyssey filled their view. It looked dead. No lights, no signs of movement. It floated near the ruins of a shattered moon. The crew exchanged nervous glances. No one wanted to go near it. Carter knew that. But they had to. He turned to his team. "Prepare a boarding party. We're going in." Kira hesitated. "Sir, are you sure? This place, it's cursed." Carter looked her in the eye. "We don't leave questions behind. We find out the truth." Kira gave a small nod. "Yes, Commander." Carter stood tall and took a deep breath. The mission had just begun. The shuttle Eagle 1 detached from the UGS horizon. Commander Joan Carter, Lieutenant Kira Voss, and 3 security officers sat quietly inside. No one spoke. The sound of the shuttle's engines filled the cabin. Ahead of them, the lost ship Odyssey floated in the darkness. Its giant hull was covered in dust and debris. It looked like a ghost from the past. Carter stood up and faced his team. "Stay close. No one takes off their helmets until I give the order. We don't know what's waiting for us on that ship." Kira nodded. The others followed without question. The shuttle docked with the Odyssey's side airlock. The docking arms clamped down with a loud thud. The light on the airlock turned green. It was safe to enter. Carter led the way. The doors slid open with a hiss. Cold air rushed past them. The hallway inside was dark. Dust floated in the air like snow. Everything was still. Carter switched on his helmet light. "Keep moving. Stay sharp." They walked slowly through the empty corridors. Old human markings were still visible on the walls, signs of Earth's old language, symbols for food storage, medical bays and control rooms. Kira's voice came through the comms. "Sir, this place looks untouched. It's like they left in a hurry." Carter stopped. Or something made them leave. They reached the bridge of the Odyssey. The doors were half open. Carter pushed them apart and stepped inside. The bridge was dark, but not dead. Small lights on the control panels blinked softly. The old systems were still running on low power. "Someone kept this ship alive," Carter whispered. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the old speakers on the wall. "Identify yourselves." The team froze. Kira quickly looked around. Did you hear that? The voice came again, louder this time. Identify yourselves, or you will be fired upon. Carter raised his hands. This is Commander Joan Carter of the UGS Horizon. We come in peace. We are here to help. Silence. The team waited, tense and ready. After a long pause, the speakers came back on. Lower your weapons. We're coming out. A hidden door at the back of the bridge slid open. Carter and his team turned to face it. Out stepped a man and a woman. They wore strange armor made from rough metal and animal hides. Their faces were hard but human. They held weapons made from old ship parts. Carter took off his helmet. We're from Earth. We're here because we received your signal. The man stepped forward. His eyes looked sharp and full of warning. We know who you are, he said. And you're not here to help. You're here to cover up what your union did to us. Carter frowned. What are you talking about? The woman raised her weapon. You left us here to die. Carter felt his heart sink. There was more to this mission than he had been told. Commander Joan Carter stood still. His heart pounded in his chest. The man and woman from the Odyssey stared at him. Weapons raised. Behind them more people slowly appeared through the door. Men, women, even children. All wore rough clothes made from metal, cloth, and old ship parts. They were alive. Joan lowered his hands and took a step forward. We thought you were all gone. The galaxy believed the Odyssey was lost 200 years ago. The man didn't lower his weapon. We were lost. Lost and left behind by your union. Carter kept his voice calm. Help me understand. What happened? The man glanced at the woman beside him. After a moment they slowly lowered their weapons. The man spoke. My name is Evan Hale. This is Leah. We are the last leaders of this ship. Joan nodded. I am Commander Joan Carter of the UGS Horizon. Tell me the truth. I'm listening. Evan took a deep breath. Our ancestors came here 200 years ago. The Odyssey was looking for a new world. The Union promised us a safe colony. But when we entered this system, something went wrong. The engines failed. We couldn't leave. Joan listened closely. We sent distress signals for months, Evan continued. We waited for help, but no one came. Then the system was marked as a Class 15 death world. The Union, they declared us lost, but we were still alive. Joan's face darkened. So they abandoned you. Evan nodded. We had to survive on the planet below. It nearly killed us. The air is toxic. The ground is alive. But we learned to adapt. We built new ways to live. We fought to stay human. Leah stepped forward. For 200 years we've lived with the truth that the Union left us to die. Joan felt anger building inside him. He had trusted the Union, but this was betrayal. Before Joan could speak, Kira's voice came through his comm. Commander, we have a problem. A ship just dropped out of warp. It's Galactic Security Command. Director Malric Kor is on board. Joan's jaw tightened. Malric Kor, the Union's top enforcer. Ruthless. Dangerous. Kira continued. He's sending a message. He wants to speak with you now. Joan turned to Evan and Leah. Let me talk to him. Maybe I can fix this. Evan shook his head. You can't fix this, Commander. He didn't come here to rescue us. He came to erase us. Joan knew Evan was right. Malric Kor didn't come to save anyone. He came to cover the Union's failure. Joan looked at his team. Get ready. Things are about to get worse. Joan Carter stood on the dark bridge of the Odyssey. His mind was racing. His comms still echoed with Kira's warning. Director Malric Kor had arrived. Joan turned to Evan Hale and Leah. Trust me, he said. Let me hear what he has to say. Evan crossed his arms. We already know what he will say. Joan didn't answer. He signaled his team and activated his comm. Carter here, he said, keeping his voice steady. Malric's voice came through cold and clear. Commander Carter, this operation is now under my control. You are to return to the Horizon at once. Joan glanced at the survivors. He had a choice to make. He replied calmly. Director, I've found survivors. Real people. A whole colony. They're alive. There was a long pause. Malric's voice returned, sharper than before. You are to secure the area and await my arrival. No further contact with the survivors. Joan felt the trap closing. Malric wasn't here to help. He was here to silence them. Kira's voice came in quietly on a private channel. Sir, I don't like this. Malric brought a destroyer-class warship. He has full firepower. Joan clenched his jaw. Understood. Keep the crew ready. Kira, we may need to move fast. He turned back to Evan and Leah. Malric is here to finish what the Union started. But I won't let that happen. Leah looked unsure. Why should we trust you? Joan took off his helmet and placed it on the floor. Because I didn't come here to kill ghosts. I came here to find the truth. Evan nodded slowly. Then you have to help us escape. That's our only chance. Joan knew Evan was right. They couldn't fight a Union destroyer head-on. But they could run. Joan looked at Kira through his visor screen. Prepare Eagle 2 and Eagle 3. I want 2 shuttles ready to launch. Quietly. Aye, Commander. Joan faced Evan again. We can't move all of you at once. But if you trust me, I'll get you out. Leah looked at the children standing behind her. We have no choice. Suddenly, the ship shook. A loud voice echoed through the Odyssey's old speakers. It was Malric. Commander Carter, you have 5 minutes to return to your ship. If you do not, I will open fire. Joan's heart raced. He turned to his team. We move now. Evan grabbed his arm. We'll follow your lead, Carter. But if you betray us, we'll fight you too. Joan nodded. I won't betray you. The survivors began to gather their people. Mothers held their children close. Old men and women carried packs of supplies. There was no time to waste. Joan's comm buzzed again. Sir, Kira whispered. Malric's preparing weapons. He's serious. Joan took a deep breath. We're breaking the chain. We're not leaving anyone behind. The survivors moved quickly through the halls of the Odyssey. Commander Joan Carter led the way, checking every corner, every shadow. Time was running out. Malric Corps had given them 5 minutes. Joan knew that was a lie. Malric wouldn't wait. He would attack without warning. Joan tapped his kamai. Kira, are the shuttles ready? Kira's voice came through. Calm but tense. Eagle 2 and Eagle 3 are in position, Commander. Waiting for your signal. Joan turned to Evan, Hale and Leah. Get your people to the shuttle bay. We move now. The survivors hurried forward. Mothers carried children. Older men and women leaned on each other for support. They moved as fast as they could. As they neared the shuttle bay, Kira's voice shouted over the kamai. Commander, incoming boarding teams. Malric's soldiers are entering the Odyssey. Joan cursed under his breath. Seal the shuttle bay doors. Slow them down. Evan grabbed Joan's shoulder. We can fight. We've fought worse than them. Joan shook his head. No, we run. That's the only way to save everyone. Gunfire echoed through the halls. Malric's soldiers were already inside the ship. Joan drew his blaster and waved his team forward. Go, move. The survivors rushed toward the shuttles. Joan and his team took cover, returning fire to slow down the soldiers chasing them. Sparks flew from the walls. The air filled with smoke and noise. Kira's voice came again. They're cutting through the shuttle bay doors. Joan knew they had seconds left. He pointed to the survivors. Get them on board. Now. Evan and Leah pushed the people onto Eagle 2 and Eagle 3. Sit. The shuttles filled up quickly. Joan fired one last shot and ran to the shuttle doors. He turned back and saw Malric Corps stepping into the bay. Malric's cold eyes met his. Malric raised a small device and spoke through the bay's speaker. You've disobeyed direct orders, Carter. Sis, you're finished. Joan glared at him. Not today. Joan slammed his hand on the shuttle's close button. The doors sealed shut. The shuttles lifted off as Malric's soldiers fired at them. The shuttles shot out into space, heading straight for the horizon. Inside the shuttle, Kira turned to Joan. Sir, he'll destroy the horizon. We can't dock without risking the whole crew. Joan nodded. Prepare to broadcast. It's time to tell the galaxy the truth. The two shuttles, Eagle 2 and Eagle 3, flew toward the UGS horizon at full speed. Inside, Commander Joan Carter stood beside Lieutenant Kira Voss. The survivors sat quietly behind them, holding on to their families. Everyone knew they were not safe yet. Kira checked the scans. "Sir, Malric's ship is charging weapons. He'll fire the moment we dock." Joan clenched his fists. Malric was ready to kill them all just to bury the truth. Joan turned to Kira. "Open the emergency broadcast channel. Send it on all frequencies. Galactic Union, civilian networks, anyone who can hear us." Kira hesitated. "Sir, that's a serious risk." Joan nodded. "I know, but if we don't speak now, no one will ever know what really happened here." Kira took a deep breath and pressed a button on the console. "Channel open, Commander." Joan leaned forward, his voice firm but clear. "This is Commander Joan Carter of the UGS Horizon. I am sending this message to the entire Union and all human colonies. I have found survivors from the lost colony ship Odyssey. For 200 years, they have lived in the Varnus 15 system." He paused for a second, knowing the risk. They were abandoned by the Union, left to die on a death world. The truth has been hidden from us all. Now Director Malric Kor is here to destroy them, to erase their story forever. We cannot let that happen. Humanity deserves to know the truth. Joan looked at Kira. "Send the data logs. Everything." Kira uploaded the records, evidence of the survivors, the ship's condition, and the Union's failure. The ship shook as Malric's destroyer fired warning shots across their path. The enemy ship loomed larger on the screen. Malric's voice cut through the comm. "Turn back now, Carter. You've already sealed your fate." Joan stood his ground. "We're not turning back." The broadcast was live now. Billions could hear them. The truth was out. Suddenly, Kira gasped. "Sir, multiple ships are arriving. Civilian rescue ships, Union patrol ships. They heard us." On the screen, several ships dropped out of warp. They moved between the horizon and Malric's destroyer, blocking his line of fire. Malric's ship stopped. His voice came again. But this time it was different. "Stand down. I repeat, stand down." Joan exhaled slowly. They had done it. They had stopped him. Kira turned to Joan, smiling for the first time in days. "You did it, Commander. The whole galaxy knows now." Joan looked back at the survivors. They were safe. He leaned back in his seat. "Take us home." Commander Joan Carter stood on the bridge of the UGS horizon, looking out into space. The battle was over. The truth had been sent across the galaxy. Ships from every part of the Union had arrived to protect the survivors. Malric Kor had no choice but to surrender. He was taken into custody by Union security forces. He was finished. Joan turned to Evan Hale and Leah, standing beside him. Behind them, their people waited silently. They were tired but alive. For the first time in 2 centuries, they had hope. Evan spoke quietly. "You saved us, Carter. I never thought anyone from the Union would ever stand with us." Joan shook his head. "I didn't do it for the Union. I did it for you. For all of you. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to live free." Leah nodded. "We are ready to start again. But we can't do it alone." Joan looked at them, then at his crew. He knew what he had to do. Later at the Union Council station, Joan stood before the Union leaders. They offered him a promotion, a higher rank, more power. But Joan didn't accept. He spoke clearly. "I am stepping down. I'm leaving the Union Navy. My place is with the survivors. I will help them build a new home, far from the lies and greed of the Union." The leaders tried to stop him, but he had made his choice. Joan returned to the survivors. Together they left the Union space and traveled to a peaceful system where they could start over. Joan stood on the surface of their new world, watching the sun rise. Children laughed nearby. People worked to build shelters. Evan and Leah stood at his side. Joan smiled for the first time in a long while. He had broken the chain. He had kept his promise, and he had found something more important than duty, a future worth fighting for.